Hello, everyone. Hello, she did it. How is everyone this evening? I hope everyone's doing amazing. So, this evening, I'm here to talk about answering your calling. So, here's something interesting. It must be Mercury in retrograde. I had an entire presentation that I had developed just for you, and it crashed right before this meeting. But I said, you know what? I'm going to do this anyway because I believe so passionately in this. As a passion test facilitator, as a leadership coach, I often hear people talking about, I want to answer my call. How do I live a passionate life? How do I be of service to others? And what happens is that we go off on a search. So we seek out, where's my purpose? I got to find my calling. And what that does is it creates a lot of pressure. So I have a couple of questions to ask you and let me know if this resonates. So think about it. Are you called to make a positive difference in the lives of others? And do you need greater clarity? Because sometimes, if you're like me, when I first started out, I had this feeling that I really wanted to make a difference. I wanted to help others, but I wasn't really sure how. And it got confusing at times. Other times it got frustrating. And sometimes it was just plain overwhelming thinking about, oh, I want to make a difference in the world. Well, the world is so big. How do I figure out what my role is in this? What my part is in this? So, in this workshop, I'm going to explain to you 5 strategies that help me to gain clarity. I'm Lisa Anna Palmer, the author of the international best-selling Light a Fire in Their Hearts: The Truth About Leadership. And this evening, I want to share with you some highlights about how I went about to discover what it is that my calling is and to gain greater clarity, build the courage so that I can then, take the steps I needed to take to make it happen. When I first got the idea about writing a book, I hadn't even written a line yet. So I went from an idea of I need to write a book to then I need to write a book about something that's important to me. What is that? All the way to writing a book, publishing it, and then becoming international bestseller, just like I had thought about back in 2014 when I first got the idea. And the other thing I'd like to ask is if you can self reflect on, do you feel like you have a lot to give and you're not really sure where you want to begin? Because that's the other thing, right? So we might have ideas about what we want to accomplish. And then sometimes we get the clarity, but then we don't know what to do with it. So we might have a ton of ideas. And the thing is, though, if we try to do them all at once without focus, guess what happens? Nothing. We don't achieve what it is that we are called to do. We just start diffusing our energy all over the place. And then we're not putting our efforts and our energy and our focus on the things that are important to us. Because what you put your attention on grows, right? And then and then lastly, ask yourself this question. Are you just tired of trying to search for your purpose and you just gotta want to get on with it, right? And that's the point where I was at. I was like out there looking for my purpose. Where's my purpose? Well, the truth is, women, is that your purpose is right here in your heart. That's where your truth is. And the thing is, though, is that we have all these blocks and layers and fears that keep us from getting clarity on that truth. And we don't have clarity, then we're not really sure what we're aiming for. And then all of a sudden, other people's expectations come in and lead us to what it is that they want versus what we really want to make happen in our lives, what we are called to do. This is an interesting time we're in. And, there was a lot of uncertainty before COVID and everything else that's gone on in the last, 9 months. or 10 months, maybe it's 11 months now. I'm not even sure anymore. I heard somebody had lost track of time the other day, and I was like, don't ask me. But, these are months that have felt like forever, and at the same time are going by quickly. And we need to stop wasting time and get that clarity that we need. We need to stop looking and start living our purpose. More than ever, we are faced with having to reinvent the way that we want to live. And this time that we're in with the pandemic is a very painful time for a lot of us. Some people have lost relatives, some people have gotten sick, some have lost jobs, and all of us have had to make monumental changes in the way that we live. Now let's start looking at some of the things that we've gained. We've gained more time for reflection, more time for clarity, more time to think about what is really and truly important to us in our lives. And this is what this workshop is about. So this evening, I'm going to give you an overview to share some of the strategies that I've talked about. On November 14th, and I'm going to put the link in the comments once I'm done. On November 14th, I'm going to have a workshop. It's a 5-hour workshop called, Stop Looking and Start Living, Answering Your Call. Answering your calling. That's what we're here to do. And what's neat about that is that because we have more time now to reflect on what's important, it's also better time to step out of the rat race and take time to self-reflect. As Mark Twain said, the 2 most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. So answering your calling is all about getting clear on what is your truth and what are your passions. And your passions will point to your purpose. Now, we talk about purpose as though it's one thing. I've worked with enough people, probably thousands that I delivered the passion test to and have coached over the years, to know that we can have many different purposes in one lifetime. We can be a parent, we can be a sister, a mother, we can be ourselves and find our truth, what it is that thrills us. We can be authors, we can be coaches, we can be entrepreneurs, we can be workers, we can be all kinds of different things. The question is, though, is that we need to focus our efforts on what are those things that are most important to us so that then we can achieve our goals and manifest our purpose. So let me share a little bit more with you about my own journey. So today, I'm the international best-selling author of Light a Fire in Their Hearts, as I mentioned. I keep mentioning it because it was such a journey. It's such a journey. It was ups and downs and twists and turns. And I think if I wasn't so clear about my purpose, I would have given up a long time ago. I'm also the CEO and founder of the Light Your Leadership Institute. And these things are things that feed my soul. I'm not going to say that it wasn't without challenges. And I mean, I'm still living through challenges. But every day I wake up loving my life and being grateful for my family, my friends, my colleagues, my network, the She Did It movement. And I'm also very grateful that I'm able to do the work that I feel like I'm called to do. But it hasn't been always that easy. It wasn't always that way. Back in 2011, I knew that I wanted to have a greater impact and help improve workplaces on a much grander scale, because at the time I was working for a crown corporation and I had a set of clients I loved. And I also wanted to have broader impact. So I left to start my own business. But I started off my business, it was very broad. It was HR consultant. So as any of you who might know an HR consultant or be an HR consultant, it can be very broad, a spectrum of things. And what I noticed over time is that there were certain things that really didn't light me up. And in fact, were energy drains for me. So I decided to get clear, but I wasn't really sure how to do that, right? How do you go and get clear? Well, it was in 2012 in the casual conversations that I was enlightened by one of my sister's friends from high school. And it just so happened that we were out west visiting my niece, and I also was going to a workshop. And my sister said, let's go to Whistler and meet with my friend Lauren. And so we did. We went for lunch, and she asked me, she asked each of us what we're doing. So I caught her up, and I said, well, one of the things I'm doing right now is that I am coaching people who are in career transition. So there were 70 people who had lost their jobs in the government at the time in 2012. There were many, many layoffs. And what I found was that they came to me and they were upset because they had lost their jobs, of course. So I would always ask them at the beginning, what's your situation? And then they would tell me, and it was very painful for them. And I would say, of course, that's a difficult situation you're in. Job loss is not easy. The thing is, I only had 2 hours with them because of budget constraints. So it's not like I had 6 sessions to help them. And so I thought, how am I going to get them out of, feeling so heavy to being excited about looking for their next job? Certainly not an easy feat. So what I did was, it just came to me. I said, well, maybe if I ask them what they love to do. And so that's what I started doing. So what I shared with Lauren is, I really love what I'm doing. I'm helping people with their career transitions. And I just wish I had a tool to help them, get clear on what they love to do and their passions. And sure enough, she said, well, guess what? I'm a passion test facilitator. And that was the first time that I heard about it. So the following year, I became certified as a passion test facilitator. That was in 2013. And during my certification training, I had to go through the passion test myself. And also Lauren had taken me through it before. So here's the thing about the passion test is every time you do it, it becomes clearer and clearer what's important to you in life. And during that passion test in my training, I figured out that I wanted to write a book. I mean, it almost came out of nowhere. And it was a book about leadership. And sure enough, all the markers I was writing, I'm an international bestseller. So I actually had the gall to put that down. Back then, I hadn't even written a note yet or a line. And I didn't even know a title. I just knew I wanted to write about leadership. And that set me off on my journey to writing Light a Fire in the Hearts, the truth about leadership, and made it happen. Because that clarity helped me to zero in and focus on what I needed to do to be able to achieve it. It didn't end there though. So of course, now I was all excited about this journey. But then it's like, how do you make it happen? So one of the things I learned while doing the passion test was that, it's one decision at a time, one action at a time. It's having intention, which is consciously stating what you want to create in your life, then paying attention to it, and then no tension, so letting go of the outcome. So sure enough, that became my mantra. So every time that I fell, or literally, for those of you who know me, I broke my arm and my leg at the beginning of the year. So I actually fell, got back up again, figuratively, and also in reality, it happened. But every time I had a challenge, I had this clear vision that I was hanging on to. And I was making very aligned decisions. Sometimes really, I had to call on courage because they weren't easy. It either took investment or it took me getting out of my comfort zone, which, nowadays I'm comfortable speaking. But at the time, I wouldn't even say hello at a wedding, when they used to hold up the video camera at you. I wouldn't even do that. I'd run the other way. So I was extremely shy. And I was like, how am I going to get to the point where I'm going to write a book and also speak about it? So it's one decision at a time, one action at a time, intention, attention, no tension. So that's what I learned from the passion test. And then I started setting markers and then letting go of the outcome, which meant, you know what? let go, let God, or whatever belief system you aspire to or engage in, is having that faith that when you take aligned decisions, that things are going to happen that are going to bring you closer to your calling. So that was the first step, is completing the passion test to gain greater clarity about what my calling was. Because then I learned that my passions point to my purpose, to my purposes. So then I began working with the materials and also coaching. So one of my other passions was getting heavy into coaching, which I did. So I went out and got my certificate with proactive business coaching. I did many other different types of workshops and certifications, got an expert speaker certification, etc. So all the things that I was paying attention to. And I also started working and developing tools that I was using with my own clients. And one of them is a guided visioning session. So once you're clear about your passions and your vision, to actually go transport your mind into the future at a certain point in time when you want those passions to come through, and just allow your mind and your heart to go on this journey so that you imagine yourself like it's already happening. So that's the second part. Once you're clear on your passions and your purpose, you want to make sure that you create that clear vision and then you stay with it. You don't just like set it aside and put it on a shelf. And you could do all kinds of different things with it. Some people journal, some people do dream boards, some people create affirmations. Really, what's important is that you figure out for yourself what it is that works for you to create that vision, and also bring in that gratitude. That's so important. The third thing is to build confidence and overcome imposter syndrome. So many of you may have heard of imposter syndrome. I know I suffer from it still today. I can't even say I'm a recovering imposter syndrome person. But the thing is after doing research and delivering workshops on it, I found that over 70% of people deal with it every day. Or every time they're about to get out of their comfort zone, they feel like certain doubts and fears come in to try to stop us, and also those invisible blocks that we don't even know where they come from, usually from our upbringing, or we've picked them up, during our career. So being able to overcome imposter syndrome is a very important step. So that's one of the other things that we covered during the workshop on November 14th. We'll dive deep on imposter syndrome and what can be done to build that confidence to get through it. And this is very related to the next step, which is actually calling on courage to get out of your comfort zone. So not only are you starting to be able to shift your mindset so that you're living with imposter syndrome in a more positive manner, but to be able to then shift your mindset and actually take the step to get out of your comfort zone. And what I found help with that is not only that clarity of vision and what's important to us and how we want to contribute and help others, and having self-compassion, compassion for others to the point where we want to help them. All those things bring courage. It comes from the heart. The other part too is to actually start to create and surround ourselves with positive people who encourage us and who want the best for us, just like we want the best for them. And also be inspired by our clients and people we serve. So that's one of the other things that we're going to do together on November 14th, is to call on courage and get out of the comfort zone, which is really important, because if you stay in your comfort zone, guess what's going to happen? More of the same. You can find your calling all you want. If you don't take that step to get the heck out of your comfort zone, you're not going to manifest your purpose and your passions, and your life will be okay. And that's all right. If that's what you're called to do, that's okay. But if you have a desire that's pulling you, and like every time you think of it, it's like, oh, I wish I could do that. Well, that's not really comfortable, is it? So comfort zone is a bit of a misnomer. Once you're stuck in it, then all you're thinking about is, how am I going to achieve what I want? And here I am, I'm stuck with my current life, and it doesn't feel like I'm answering to what I'm supposed to do. And then finally, the last step, that I've developed that really help me and help my clients is to develop a roadmap with stepping stones to start taking that inspired action. So once you learn the tools, to get clear on your passions, you have a clearer vision, you're building that confidence and dealing with imposter syndrome. You're learning the tools that will bring you out of your comfort zone gradually. Some people take leaps, some people take longer. It's okay, provided you keep working towards it. And once you have a roadmap, then you know what steps are going to help you get there. So you imagine your ideal life, you imagine that you're answering your calling, and then you ask yourself, how did I get here? And what stepping stones did I need to take? So reflect on some of those things. So remember, the 5 things are: complete the passion test or find some other way to gain greater clarity about what's important to you. What is most important to you? And my biggest advice is don't separate life from career because they're together. They're one and the same. Your career is part of your life. And so when you are trying to get clear on what's important to you, you need to make sure you factor that in. Both. The next thing is get clear on your vision. Imagine yourself like it's already happening. Take the time to self-reflect and journal and write it out. Thirdly is build your confidence to overcome imposter syndrome. So really think about, that you're not alone, first of all. A lot of us have dealt with it, and a lot of us can deal with it successfully once we know what are the steps and what are some of the things we can do to deal with it. Getting out of the comfort zone, we're going to have fun with that. I'm going to share more specifically in the journey and how is it that we can get and prepare ourselves to go from where we are now to take that leap towards what it is that we really want in life. And lastly, developing that roadmap. So these are the 5 steps. And whether or not you decide to join us at the workshop, you can start thinking about those and use those as takeaways to help you organize your thoughts so that you know how you can achieve what it is that you want in life and to answer your calling. So for those of you who are here in the She Did It movement, so I'm one of the ambassadors and I'm a huge fan of Karine, Aristide. We're great friends. We say that we're twins and we have very similar approaches in life. And it is my honor to offer you a promo code. So in a few moments, once I'm done this Facebook Live, just because, as I mentioned earlier, the presentation I prepared didn't quite make it to our session. So I'm going to put the link to the Eventbrite. It's next weekend on November 14th from 9:30 in the morning to 2:30 in the afternoon. It's going to be intense. So you have to be ready to be able to really focus and want to take your life to the next level. Is really focus and be able to go through these steps together. There's already some women who are amazing who are registered for the course, and I'm so excited. So if you want to join us, the promo code for She Did It is She Did It, all in caps. She Did It, and you're going to get $100 off. That's in addition to the early bird. And I hope that you will join us if you are ready to take your life to the next level, to stop looking and start living and answering your calling. So thank you everyone who's had the time to listen in either live or later on as part of the She Did It wall, I guess. I guess I'm on the She Did It wall. And please message me if you have any questions. And yeah, so message me. Let me know if you have questions. If not, I'm going to put the link in the comments in just a moment. And hope to see you there. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.